Selling the job is hard, but delivering the job the right way is also hard. And that's where a lot of home services businesses fail. They forget that after the customer says yes, that's when the real work begins. So today, I'm going to show you what we're building for the ProCare Service Playbook. So last time I was on, I talked about the sales playbook. This one is going to be about the service playbook, and this is the system that we're going to use to make sure that every garage door job feels safe, feels professional, and maybe even a little bit surprising, but in a good way. And I'm going to walk you through how I want every tech to show up, the 5-star delivery standards, what all the things will look like, and how we're going to create like little wow moments for the customer that they don't expect, but never forget. Hey, I'm Mark, and I'm building a garage door business completely from scratch in public, and the challenge is to hit $1 million in sales in 6 months, starting in January 2026. But the more I plan this, the more I realize that you don't build a great business just by selling, you build it by serving, and you build that serving consistently, cleanly, and hopefully with care. And so this episode is all about the next system that I'm designing, and it's about how we're going to deliver 5-star service to each job every single time. Something that I've learned over the years is that most customers can't tell if your technical work is perfect. Because they don't know the technical aspects of the work, as long as the thing works at the end of it, they'll go, yep, sounds good. But they always know how you made them feel. They always know good service from bad service. And in trades and home services businesses, the difference between a good company and a great one often comes down to small things, like how you show up, how you communicate, what you leave behind, the service that you provide. First things first is the arrival protocol. So when someone books a job with ProCare, the experience has to start with before we arrive. So we're going to send a quick note or a text, or we'll call 30 minutes out and say something to the effect of, hey, it's Mark, I'm a tech with ProCare, we're just wrapping up the last job, we're heading over to your house soon, see you soon. Now, the benefit of a lot of CRMs, and the one we're using is called House Call Pro, is that as long as the job is scheduled on the tech's job, you can click a button that says on way to job, and if you have that linked up with text, then a text will automatically get sent out to the customer. But even if you don't have that, you can just shoot a quick text to say, hey, we're 30 minutes away, we're on our way, whatever it might be. The goal is that the van will always be clean, always parked neatly, always with visible branding, and the tech will smile, make eye contact, and say something to the effect of, when they arrive, they'll say, thanks for having me, I'm going to take a quick look, walk through what I see, and then we're going to decide on next steps together. The goal is no muddy boots, no rushing past people into their garage, calm, collected, pausing, thoughtful, empathetic, all of those things, because that's really, really important. That first 30 seconds sets the entire tone for the rest of the engagement. You're either going to create trust or you're going to create tension in the interaction. Step 2 is all about the customer experience standard. So clarity builds comfort. So once the appointment starts, the goal is to create as much clarity as humanly possible. We're going to try and train each tech to talk through what they're doing and why they're doing it. No jargon, just sort of simple, honest language. So they'll say something like, well, here's what I'm going to check first. And they'll give small updates throughout the job. Well, it looks like this thing is coming up to the end of its life. Like this spring is coming up to the end of its life, but the cables are fine. And you're going to be talking through that throughout the entire process. Now, if you go back to our sales playbook that we had before, we sort of laid out how we're going to do that to make it easier for the customer to sort of hold on to. The goal here, as we're talking through this to build comfort, is to reduce the unexpected. Because if something unexpected comes up, then they're going to get more shock about that thing. So we're going to try and reduce that as much as possible. But even if the unexpected comes up, the goal is to try and communicate the right way, because silence through the job feels like uncertainty, even though we're not trying to create uncertainty. If you're silent through the job, you're going to create uncertainty, and uncertainty kills trust. And so we're trying to create as much certainty and reduce the unexpected as much as humanly possible. Because no one, you know what it's like getting like a renovation or something like that, and the plumber or the carpenter comes to you and says, bad news, we found X that we have to work on, and you only find that out like later on in the job. It's like a huge surprise. It's extra money. It's extra cost. We're trying to reduce that as much as possible. So that frequent communication throughout the job is going to be really, really important. Step 3 is going to be quality control. So no surprises later. Before any tech leaves, they're going to have to run through the quality checklist that we're going to build for each job. So there's going to be a safety quality checklist prior to the job to identify additional items, and then an additional safety quality checklist after the job is done. So we're going to log before and after pictures for transparency, every job, every single time, to try and reduce the surprises that may occur later on. Why? Because we want to leave the job site knowing that everything is working correctly, so that when a customer sees that we've actually checked everything, they don't wonder if it was done right. And also it reduces like rework and having to come back and fix everything later on. We don't want that to occur, so we're trying to reduce that as much as possible. Step 4 is the clean job policy. So to try and leave the site better than we found it. We don't want ProCare to be the company that leaves tools scattered around across the garage floor, or garbage, or boxes, or whatever it is. We're going to train techs to basically keep things neat, keep things tidy, sweep, vacuum, do whatever we have to do to make sure that everything is kept tidy, even if no one's watching. I know it sounds super simple, but in home services, that's what customers remember. They're going to remember, oh wow, they were super clean, everything was organized, everything was laid out correctly, they took away the garbage, they even took away the garbage that wasn't theirs, leaving it. And so we're going to try and live up to the motto of like leaving the workspace cleaner than we found it, for example, or cleaning the workspace even if no one's watching. That's sort of the idea behind that. Step 5 is around surprise and delight. It's something that we took from Will Guidara's books, where he talks about unreasonable hospitality, but the goal is to surprise and delight the customer so that we can stand out. So most home services businesses trying to just deliver the minimum standard required, right? Fix, invoice, leave. The goal here is to go a little bit further. So what we're going to try and build into our process is a handwritten thank you note, or a sticker on the invoice, or even a thank you text, maybe a garage door safety tip card, a seasonal magnet, spraying a bit of lubricant on noisy hinges even if it wasn't part of the job. Maybe for families, we'll build like a kids safety sticker or something like that says watch out for moving doors, or maybe we'll have something for pets that we give away. These are all just ideas. Now, none of this actually costs very much, but it's memorable, right? The customer is going to remember how far you went to make that service feel. Maybe it's even like a bottle of water in the hot summer, or a warm coffee in the cold winter. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but the customer is going to go, oh wow, that's nice, right? Like they didn't have to do that, but they did. And that's what we want people talking about. That's what's going to earn that repeat business. That's what's going to help us stand out. We don't want to just be the company that shows up, fixes it, invoices, and leaves. That's the minimum standard, right? We want to be the company that surprises and delights customers. That's going to get us that repeat business. That's going to get people talking about what it is we do and what it is we do well. Step 6 is the goodbye ritual. So So the idea here is like we're going to close with connection. So before leaving, every tech will walk the customer through what was done, show them that the door is operating smoothly, tell them what's coming next, and then they're going to ask the customer, is there anything else you'd like me to check before I go? Very, very important, because maybe there's an additional service that we haven't yet identified that may be related to, windows and doors, or cladding, or something that maybe even garage storage. And that might not necessarily help us, but potentially we could refer them to a partner of ours who's really good at that thing, who can fix that for them or upgrade that for them or whatever, because the more close partnerships that we have in the industry and the more business that we can refer to others is only going to help us in return, because as we refer business out, business will get referred to us. When the tech finishes, the goal here is to close with happiness, right? And to say thank you. Thank you so much for trusting us with your home today. You're going to get a quick text to rate your experience. You might even get something to give feedback on Google or Facebook. We'd really appreciate it if you did that. And that closing ritual sort of cements the experience to say thank you, because we need to say thank you to others to be able to show that we appreciate the work. The last step is going to be about follow-up automation. So we want to try and stay as present as we can in the customer's mind after we leave. The job isn't going to end when we leave, right? When we get out of the driveway. Within 24 hours, we want to get to the customer. We want to send them a thank you text, the review link, and maybe a week after we'll send them another text that says, hey, how's the door performing? Any squeaks or sticking? Maybe 30 days later, we're going to share an email that says, hey, here's how to keep this running smooth. So little touches just to remind people that we're still thinking about them, even after the invoice is paid. That's really, really important. Now, every system that I'm building into ProCare, and these are all ideas, right? These are just rough ideas of how we're going to build the system, but every system that I'm building into ProCare, whether it's marketing or sales or service, has the same goal. The goal is trust, because trust compounds. When you do good work, you show up clean, you communicate clearly, and you add little delight moments along the way for the customer, that becomes your marketing. And I want ProCare to be known as the company that people actually like having in their driveway, right? No one likes having people invading their space, but I want us to be able to show up and people go, oh yeah, wow, this is going to be a great experience. ProCare always takes care of us. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we build a system around it. So that's the idea, right? We want this service playbook, from how we show up to how we deliver to how we follow up, to be something that is built into how we operate. This is the system that I'm building so that every job earns trust, every customer feels cared for, every experience feels just a little bit better than expected. And that's the hope. What would surprise and delight you? That's my question to you. If you were bringing someone into your home and a home service tech showed up at your house, what would make you feel good about the experience? Would you appreciate a coffee? Would you appreciate, a fridge magnet that goes through the care of the garage? Would you appreciate a couple of tips? Would you appreciate a toy for the dog? What is it? What's the thing that you would appreciate out of this? In the next episode, I'm going to be going through advertising. So Google Ads, I obviously have no idea what I'm doing, and I've made obviously some mistakes already, so I'm going to go through what those mistakes are, and I'm going to get an expert in Google Ads to come on to talk about that. We're going to record that, and then hopefully that'll help you too, because they looked at my stuff and they're like, this is garbage. And I said, hey, this would be a great episode for what it is we're doing for ProCare. So hopefully that helps you in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. We'll see you on the next episode.